Okay, so today's lesson is not going to take too long. What I want to talk to you about is lines that have the same slope. Now, if they have the same slope, so say this one. So say I have a coordinate grid here and I have a line and I also have a point where it hits the y-axis and a slope. Something else that would have the same slope, if I was to draw it look like this. Okay, you can see here that the slope of both of those lines is exactly the same. And when two lines have the same slope, we say that they are parallel. Now, you've met that word many times before, and often you say it's when two lines never meet, but now we'll say it's when two lines have the exact same slope. So if I was given the line y equals 4x plus 2, and I'm told that this is the line k, and I'm asked to find the line p, I'm told p, then I can deduce from that that the line p is equal to y is equal to 4x anyway. The rest I won't know, but it'll definitely have the same slope if k and p are parallel. The symbol we use for that is k is parallel to p. Sometimes slopes will be perpendicular. And here is an example of two lines that are perpendicular. Okay, you can see here that the 90-degree angles are made, and that would be a symbol of perpendicular, and we use this symbol as perpendicular. Now, if two lines are perpendicular, the slope of the first multiplied by the slope of the second has to give you -1. So if I'm given a line here, and say I call this, okay, so here I'm given a line, and I'm going to first of all find the slope of that. I'm going to call this line S, and I'm told S is perpendicular to P. Find the slope of P. So I know if they're perpendicular, when you multiply the slope of the first by the slope of the second, you should get -1. So let's have a look and see if I can do myself a favor and find the slope of this line here. So what I've done here is I found two clear points. I can definitely tell my slope here is going to be a positive. So I rise by 2 and I run by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's 2/6. So the slope here is 1/3. Now, this is the line S. But what about P? P is perpendicular to S. So if I'm to look at it as a visual, P could be something like this. Okay? That hits S exactly where those 90-degree angles are. But I'm asked, what's the slope of P? Well, the slope of the first multiplied by the slope of the second has to give you -1 if they're perpendicular. So the slope of the first here is 1/3. So 1/3 multiplied by what will give you -1. And there's a nice trick to this, guys. You basically take this number here, you turn it upside down, and you change the signs. Now let's do our maths just to test it. So remember, multiplying fractions is top by top, bottom by bottom. So 1 multiplied by -3 is -3, all over 3 multiplied by 1, which is 3, and it's -1. So whatever else we know about the line, we know that if this is the line S, and if we're asked to find P, and P is perpendicular to S, then what we're going to do here is we're going to flip it upside down, make sure we get -1, and hey presto, we've got our answer. Okay, so what if I'm given a question like this? L is the line 2x plus 4y minus 6. Which of the following lines are perpendicular to L or parallel to L? And I'm given some options here. Okay, well, first things first is I'm given this 2x plus 4y minus 6 equals 0. I always go back to my straight line formula, which is y equals mx plus c. And I want to rearrange this so that I have it in that order. So if I get my y on one side, everything else on the other, I get 4y is equal to -2x plus 6. And that's by doing a bit of balancing. So hopefully you know where I've got that from. But again, I'm not asked for 4y, I'm asked for y, so I'm going to divide both sides by 4. And what I should get is y is equal to minus 2 over 4x plus 6 over 4. And so you might get a little bit good at your maths and say 2 over 4. Well, another way I can write that is minus a half. Okay, so this is the line L, and it has a slope of minus a half. Which other ones also have a slope of minus a half? Because if they do, they'd be parallel. And then if they have a slope different, then they might be perpendicular. And remember, if they're perpendicular, the slope of the first multiplied by the slope of the second should give you minus 1. So the slope of the first we know is minus 1/2. So minus 1/2 multiplied by what would give me minus 1. So what is going to be the slope here? It's going to be, guys, remember what I said? What was the trick? Flip it upside down and change the sign. So it was a minus, it now goes to a plus. So if any of these have a slope of 2, they're going to be perpendicular. So let's start off with J. So it is 2x plus 4y minus 12 equals 0. And we're going to get it in the form y is equal to mx plus c. So it's going to be 4y equals 2x plus 12. And then we're going to divide everything by 4. And it's going to be, now hopefully you're sticking with me and I'm not going too fast for you here. If I am, just tell me tomorrow. So it's going to be y is equal to 2 over 4x plus, well, 12 divided by 4, which is going to be 3. So y is equal to a half x plus 3. And in this case, we can say that the slope of this one here is a half. When we worked out the very first one, we knew it was minus a half. So is it parallel or perpendicular? This should be a minus x the whole way down. So if that's the case, it should be minus a half x. We know that the slope here is minus a half x. So we can now say that J is parallel to the line L. So L was our original line. Okay, so as learning check then for this evening, I want you to do K, M and N for me. So get them in the form y is equal to mx plus c. If the slope is minus a half, then you know it's parallel. And if the slope is 2, you know it's perpendicular. And I'll see everybody tomorrow.